This is He Knows Everything, bringing you that heat and that far. We keeping a foot on the water. Digs. We keeping a foot on the water. Digs. And like the Tibetan Mastiff that I am, and like the Siberian tiger that I am, I'm applying what? Unlimited pressure. Because pressure does what? Eat persons, pipes. Let's talk about it, man. Gervonta Tank Davis doesn't get the level of respect that he deserves. Let me say it again. Gervonta Tank Davis doesn't get the level of respect that he deserves. They're trying to sit here and tell you that Gervonta Tank Davis's power, because of the fact that he's knocking people out, is basically fabricated. His power is basically performance enhancement drug induced. It's a things that make you say, It's a things that make you say, But in this most cold-hearted, unadulterated, and cut-through fashion, we have to ask ourselves these big questions here. Why would Gervonta Tank Davis PED, supposed induced self, be intermingled and mixed with the likes of everything else that's associated with Canelo Alvarez? Why are they trying to pin it on Gervonta Tank Davis? Why are they hating on the fact that Gervonta Tank Davis is knocking out their Mexican fighters and making their Mexican fighters look and feel like shit motherfuckers? When it's all said and done, they're just hot and bothered like grits that Gervonta Tank Davis is box office. When you're dealing with a box office fighter and a fighter of the magnitude of a Gervonta Tank Davis, you know what he's bringing to the table. You know what to expect. You know the fact that Gervonta Tank Davis will literally tank your ass. You know that's what's going to happen. And they understand it. They get it. They know the reality that's associated behind it. But they're feeling some type of way because they know what Gervonta Tank Davis can bring to the table. Gervonta Tank Davis, I done told you guys, he's a Mighty Mouse iteration of Mike Tyson meets Roy Jones Jr. meets Floyd Mayweather's pool counter extraordinary ability. If you look at Gervonta Tank Davis, every performance this man has had, every fight, even the supposed Gamboa fight that they said he got exposed, Gamboa was dropped 3 times. Till this date, he has the best performance against your curious Gamboa. Aged the man, I mean, ridiculously, and beat the shit out of him. And that was a Gervonta Tank Davis that wasn't even focused. What happened when Gervonta Tank Davis got into the focus element of things? Gervonta Tank Davis started positioning himself to knock out these fighters and make them look bad. Leo Santa Cruz, I mean, the way this man was knocked out, just look at it for what it is. Mario Barros, this is a bigger guy in a bigger weight class. Gervonta Tank Davis knocked him out into the next moon. So when we look at Gervonta Tank Davis's body, does it look like somebody that's on PEDs? When people are on performance enhancement drugs, usually there's an enhancement in the body too. Let me say it again. When someone is on performance enhancement drugs, listen to the name, performance enhancement. It's not just performance enhancement in your performance. It enhances your physicality. Because in order for your performance to enhance, your physicality has to enhance. Let me say it again. In order for your performance to enhance, your physicality also has to enhance too. There's an enhancement there. That means that your body is being in an enhanced state. So because of that, it positions you, it props you up, and it puts you in basically what we would say a situation where you're able to do certain things that you weren't previously or capable of doing in other situations. This is the reality with a Gervonta Tank Davis. This is the reality with the likes of what he's able to bring to the table minus performance enhancement drugs. Because Gervonta Tank Davis was built naturally a special way. Some people are just built right. Some people just have the God-gifted genetics. Allen Iverson had it with the speed. Randy Moss had it with the ability to moss you. Notice in football, they have a terminology called "I'm gonna moss your ass." That's because of Randy Moss's special abilities, his God-gifted abilities. Gervonta Tank Davis's God-gifted ability is his ability to hit you. And the fact that he has the athleticism and the explosion while he's hitting you. This makes him a unique variation, a unique combination, a unique aspect, and a unique variation. This is what Gervonta Tank Davis brings to the table. The fact that he is a fighter that will literally obliterate and knock your ass out. This is what Gervonta Tank Davis has always been about. He's box office. But when we look at cinnamon dust of a Horchata and Alvarez, we look at the fraud that he is as a boxer. We see a guy in cinnamon dust of a Horchata and Alvarez that's not for real. That's Mr. fucking pretend. And see, fight fans don't want to be real with the shit. And they don't want to tell you the realness. They don't want to tell you that this guy's pretend. They just want to tell you some make-believe shit. Because fight fans are not being real with themselves. They're not being honest with themselves. And they're not telling you a cold-hearted, unadulterated, and cutthroat truth-teller fashion. Canelo's team is filled with dirty Mexican meat. Let me say it again. Canelo's team is filled with dirty Mexican meat. We know this to be fucking true. Because we've quantified this. We've calculated it. We've verified it. We certified it. And we know that this is the reality. Mexican fighters cannot hang with black fighters. So there is an element to where they have to cheat in order for them to hang. Let me say it again. Mexican fighters cannot hang with black fighters. So there is an element of them to cheat in order for them to win. These are the realities. These are the cold-hearted. These are the unadulterated. And these are the cutthroat truth-telling fashions. And if we're not being honest with ourselves and telling you guys this cold-hearted truth, in telling you guys this unadulterated truth, and in telling you this cutthroat truth-telling fashion truth, then we're not being true connoisseurs of the sport of boxing. There's nothing performance enhancement based about Gervonta Tank Davis. What Gervonta Tank Davis has is what's called God-gifted ability. And now he's putting in the work to not just basically rely on his God-gifted ability. That's why Allen Iverson didn't last as long as he was supposed to, because Allen Iverson relied too much on the God-gifted ability. Randy Moss had God-gifted ability, but he put the fucking work in to enhance the God-gifted ability. So that's the difference. That's the distinction. That's the delineation. That's the gulf, and that's the separation. Don't get mad that Gervonta Tank Davis is knocking out every last one of your opponents and literally knocking them out in a fashion to where you guys don't understand the fact that this knockout is what it is, a fucking knockout. But that's just the reality of it. Gervonta Tank Davis knocks out his opponents. He sends his opponents into oblivion because he is a Mighty Mouse iteration, like He Knows Everything told you guys, of Roy Jones Jr. meets Mike Tyson meets Floyd Mayweather. That combination, that variation, that aspect, and that facet in one golfing of a conglomeration of a boxer is going to spell box office. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat truth-teller fashion. Devin Haney cannot hang with the likes of a Gervonta Tank Davis because he's not special. Devin Haney, if he even wants to have a chance to even hang, and see, notice I said to have a chance even to hang, he needs to bend the proverbial fucking knee, kiss the ring while he's at it, and basically fall up under Floyd Mayweather so he can be crispier than a three-piece. Devin Haney's whole career is basically lineaged up for him to completely avoid Gervonta Tank Davis at all costs. Him and Gervonta Tank Davis shouldn't even look each other's way. Because if he fights Gervonta Tank Davis, it's career suicide for this guy. There's no coming back from fighting a Gervonta Tank Davis because Gervonta Tank Davis is going to literally tank your ass. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat truth-teller fashion. Gervonta Tank Davis is box office. And box office fighters do what box office fighters always do. They're box office in the sense that they obliterate your ass. They're box office in the sense that they annihilate your ass. They're box office in the sense that they will basically exonerate your ass in the boxing ring. Nothing about Gervonta Tank Davis spells that he is not box office. Everything about Gervonta Tank Davis spells that he will completely obliterate your ass. That's exactly what he's going to do if he ever steps in the ring with a Devin Haney. People want to sit here and run with this Devin Haney sparring. He made Gervonta Tank Davis quit. That's not the account that Gervonta Tank Davis in his camp has. That's not the account that the Mayweather Club has. That's the account that Devin Haney fanboys are running with. There's only one sparring that matters, and that's Floyd Mayweather versus Earl the True Spence. Because of everybody that was there, from the Ashley Theophanes of the world, to the Freddie Roaches of the world, to the Barry Hunters of the world, to the Leonard Ellabys of the world. This right here was basically a superstar fight without it being a superstar fight. It is the only sparring that matters. Devin Haney with a Gervonta Tank Davis taking it easy on a young kid like that, that shit doesn't fucking matter. That's the cool party. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat telefashion. Because if y'all hanging on the sparring bullshit, wait till they step into the ring. And what you guys are going to see is that Gervonta Tank Davis will completely obliterate Devin fucking Haney. Shakur Stevenson gets it because Shakur Stevenson understands the cardinal rule. And the simple cardinal rule is as simple as this. I'm not ready for Gervonta Tank Davis. Gervonta Tank Davis is another gear, another level, another gamut. This guy right here is box office. He's older than me. That's what Shakur Stevenson is trying to basically ingrain in your fucking corpus callosum and cerebellum, your medulla oblongata. But a lot of people are not getting it because their cerebellums does not have neuron receptors that's clicking on all fucking cylinders. Because if they did, they would understand what Shakur Stevenson means when he's giving you the deep-rooted meaning of he's older than me, meaning he's more experienced, meaning he will do me the fuck up, meaning he will embarrass the shit out of me, meaning I don't have a fucking chance against this guy. And this guy's going to embarrass the shit out of me if I step into the ring with the likes of a Gervonta Tank Davis. It's not going to fare well with me. This is exactly what Shakur Stevenson is alluding to. Shakur Stevenson is the number one guy in that young group crop. And with his boxing ability, his boxing skills, and his ability to do what he's able to do, if he understands that he's not on the level of a Gervonta Tank Davis, then how did you Rudy fucking Poo and Plum Plum bring? Classic fucking dotes and troglodytes. Ultra fucking fanboys with the ultra fucking fanboy rhetorics think that when it was all said and done, that somebody like the likes of a fucking Devin Haney is on that level. It's a things that make you say, It's a things that make you say, But in its most cold-hearted, unadulterated, and cutthroat true telefashion, is as simple as this. We have to ask ourselves, where is this hate coming from with the big A? It's coming from PBC fucking haters. They hate the fact that Gervonta Tank Davis has held the 130, 135, and 140 hostage. They hate the fact that Earl the True Spence has held 147 hostage. They hate the fact that the Charlo brothers has held 154 and 160 hostage. And they hate the fact that once upon a time ago, and now this is not the case because he took a glove gate paid to lose as a permanent stainage in boxing, and he's trying to get his get back. Deontay Wilder held the heavyweight division at hostage. I hope he can get it back once he beats Tyson Fury. I'm rooting for the brother. But when it's all said and done, this is what it boils down to. The PBC hate. The fact that they hate that there's a black man out there that's telling these black fighters, you do not have to be crippled by the old imprisonment of boxing promotion. We're going to make sure that your faculties are in order. We're going to make sure that your affairs are in order. We're going to make sure that you guys are good to go. But in making sure that you guys are good to go, in making sure that you guys are where you need to be at, we're going to instill that when it's all said and done, you guys have your own LLCs. You're governing your own fucking affairs. I'm just going to advise in the fact that you guys will have your own fucking business. That's the cool party. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat true telefashion. When it's all said and done, that's really what it boils down to. It doesn't boil down to anything else but that. The reality, the fact, the association, the ability, and the affinity of the simple fact that Gervonta Tank Davis is God-gifted, not performance enhancement induced like a cinnamon dust of a horchata of a fucking Alvarez. So what's not cold-hearted about that? What's not unadulterated about that? And what's not the cutthroat true telefashion that's associated with that? This is what's wrong with boxing fans. They don't know how to give these fighters their roses while they're still around. Then they want to give you this fake bullshit and fuck shit roses when they are not around. And then they want to act like, oh yeah, I was supporting this fighter. I was rooting for this fighter. Bull fucking shit. You wasn't supporting that fighter. You wasn't rooting for that fighter. Nothing about the fighter told you that you were basically in the benefactor of the fighter. It was everything else minus that. That's the cool party. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat tale of fashion. When it's all said and done, we have to give Gervonta Tank Davis his roses. Because Gervonta Tank Davis is box office. He's a special fighter. And he keeps basically massacring these fucking Mexicans. But when we look at Devin Haney, since the Alfredo Santiago fight, he's had the choppy overhand right. He's been getting exposed. He's been getting done the fuck up. And because of this, he's been seeing a situation where he's been finding himself in a precarious situation of him basically putting himself and propping himself up as a person that's been getting done up. When it's all said and done, is that Tank's problem? Is that Tank's, how should I say this, thing? Or are we going to sit here and be honest with ourselves and say that Tank has been dominating opponents after opponents after opponents after opponents? He's been looking good after fights after fights after fights. And everything is checking off with this guy. But Devin Haney keeps getting exposed. Imagine the Jorge Linares punch. If that is Gervonta Tank Davis that connects with Devin Haney, you Devin Haney fanboys need to be honest with yourselves. What the fuck you think is going to be the outcome of that? Imagine if Gervonta Tank Davis, just like your Curious Gamboa is getting off like that. What is the outcome of Devin Haney? You guys have to ask yourselves these fundamental questions and come to the fundamental answers. Devin Haney is not on Gervonta Tank Davis's level. And it's clear that he is jealous of Gervonta Tank Davis. And you got fight fans, because they don't want to accept Gervonta Tank Davis because of the Floyd Mayweather dichotomy, they want to run with Devin fucking Haney. Ain't nobody scared of no damn Devin Haney. All Devin Haney does is do what he does best, and that's fucking cap. He can cap better than all of them. I'm going to be honest with you. Because he's able to make you guys believe in an erroneous, nonsensical, that's not how it went down sparring. He's able to make you guys believe that he still has not elevated past the email championship state. And he's also made you guys believe that when it's all said and done, he is the boxer that you guys think that he is, when in actuality, he is not the boxer that you guys think that he is. When it's all said and done, Gervonta Tank Davis fights Devin Haney. He beats the shit out of him. And like he once called him a little fucking kid, that's exactly what he is. He's a little fucking kid. And little kids always feel that they need to hit an age before their time. They always feel that they need to be a little bit older than the way that they are. And you know why? Because it's in the little kids to think that way. It's in the little kids to have that mindset. It's in the little kids to make people think that they are older than what they actually are. But what happens when little kids face situations where their age reveals what it truly reveals? Because after all, we are limited to our age. They get done the fuck up. They get exposed. That's what Devin Haney is. The little kid to Gervonta Tank Davis's grown ass man. Gervonta Tank Davis is God gifted, not performance enhancement induced. So you can't put a God gifted fighter that's working his ass off and doing all of the things that he needs to do in the fucking ring against a capper that hasn't faced real opposition, and like Gary Russell Jr. said, is an amateur professional. That's exactly what Devin Haney is. Notice Devin Haney's always running his fucking mouth. But you do not see a fight that shows that he is for real. That's signed, sealed, and delivered like UPS. What happened to the Gary Russell Jr. fight? I'm going to ride a little bit on this one. Fight fans want to act like that shit didn't fucking exist. Why did they duck Gary Russell Jr.? If there was any moment to prove that Devin Haney was for real, that was the fucking moment. That would have given him some cachet and leverage because he would have ran with that. He would have said, you know what? Look, you see what I'm talking about, Gary Russell Jr.? This is why I am the dream. This is why I'm not an email champion, because I basically obliterated your ass. But Devin Haney did not take on that fight, and I don't see him or his camp clamoring to take it on. But Gervonta Tank Davis has fought box office after box office after box office opponents. Opponents are lining up. They're wanting to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. No one wants to fight Devin Haney. So that spells to you the jealousy and the envy that a Devin Haney has against the likes of a Gervonta Tank Davis. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat to tell a fashion. I keeps the foot on the whoop. Eeks. I keeps the foot on the whoop. Eeks. This is He Knows Everything. Check it out.